Now, PSG flying today, a very big win over Galatasaray, but there have been some rumblings, of course, regarding the relationship between Thomas Tuchel and some of his stars. These were highlighted when Mbappe was substituted at the weekend. Clearly not happy. This is what Tuchel had to say. He has a special mindset. When you've won trophies and have his talent, you don't want to be substituted, but he has to respect my decision and show respect for the incoming player. Frank Leboeuf, your old teammate Christophe Dugarry, said basically, well, that's it. Tuchel's done.
Yeah, but he said that in a way that it would be, and he thinks that it's impossible for Tuchel to cope with either Mbappe or Neymar because they. It's like tonight when they played this evening when they play in Paris and they make many goals and also assists, where it's impossible to cope when your name is Tuchel. If you are Zidane, it's maybe more possible, but they're above you. If they're not happy, they're going to show it. If they want to say something, they're going to do it. And if they don't want to play, they're not going to play. So they are absolutely fantastic player. And for Tuchel and the problem he had with Mbappe, he started when the last year when they played against Marseille, Mbappe arrived with Rabiot 2 minutes or 3 minutes late. And they were punished and put on the bench, where other players did the same thing, and because they were above them, I don't want to name Neymar, but he was one of them, weren't punished for the same decision. So the problem and the pressure started from there, and then he went above to another level where when Tuchel decided to put couple of times Mbappe on the bench or put him out, substituted him, and he upset Mbappe. What Dugarry wanted to say is said it's already hard to be the coach of Paris Saint-Germain because the structure of the club are not perfect, where the president, Mr. Al-Khelaifi, sometimes opened the door to the players to complain and not, in fact, respecting the hierarchy of the club. Tuchel tried to keep that hierarchy at the right level, but it seems to be that for Dugarry, when he talked last time, that Mbappe and Neymar are too strong for the club, and if they don't want to give their best, they won't do it. But of course, if they are fantastic, and they will be fantastic, the club will be very pleased. That's the only thing that he said. It's not that Tuchel will be put out. As long as they have result, he's going to stay. But he has no strings to make sure that he's going to be attached to Neymar or Mbappe.
So from the outside looking into this, boys, I would think, why substitute him in the 90th minute if he knows it's going to cause a problem? Just leave him on. Is that not just the sensible thing to do?
I don't know anymore. I tell you what, in some sense, I never feel sorry for top coaches because they get paid fortunes. In another sense, I think, you know, how the hell are you supposed to do your job these days with some of these star players? Because they're almost unmanageable. They are living big babies, basically. That's what it is. Now, when you have to, you know, wrap them in cotton wool, and I'm not saying Tuchel or any other coach is blameless for some of your suggestion, but however, a lot of these things are so trivial that end up being so seemingly so big. It's almost an impossible job to manage these guys.
So you made the decision to take him off. Fine. You're the manager. You're well within your rights to make that decision. What I didn't quite understand of that particular sequence, you know that he's not happy about coming off. Then why do you go and try to give him explanations? Say, why? And you see him putting his hand over his mouth and, hey, you know, I'm just trying to save you for the... No. You don't have to give him an explanation, right? You deal with that at some other time when he's not as hot, when he's not as upset, or whatever the case may be, whenever he's not throwing a fit, then you tell him at training before you go out to training, hey, Kylian, next time I take you out, just because I want to rest your legs, or maybe because I want the stadium to give you a hand, just be okay with it. And respect my decision as a coach, and do that in a manner in which it doesn't have to come out in the public forum and we don't have to talk about it. But when you go and try to give an explanation for somebody who's already upset, I can tell you from experience, don't try to give me an explanation when I'm upset.
Right.
Just let me take a couple of minutes, and then we can talk.
But to that point, I don't understand why Mbappe is as upset. I totally take Ali's point, and I've questioned Tuchel and his own authority within that dressing room. But you're playing in a league in where the league is won just about already for all intents and purposes. You get substituted. There's a Champions League game to come. Okay, you're already through in that group as well, and you figure you're gonna play. I don't understand why you throw a strop. Which leads me to think that Mbappe is now trying to establish his own authority, especially over Neymar, and almost throw more toys out to the pram than Neymar can, which is a ridiculous discussion to be having about two of the world's best players in one of the world's biggest football clubs. And now you have this power dynamic where you've got Tuchel trying to establish some kind of authority, and you've got two prima donnas, very talented prima donnas, kind of vying for the same spotlight. And it's ridiculous, especially given what's at stake here for PSG in terms of what we are hoping and the expectation is from them, particularly the Champions League.
At that level, as much as you're a coach for tactical reasons and putting together training sessions and in-game adjustments and what have you, you also have to be a manager, and a manager of people, a manager of talent, a manager of personalities, and you have to know which ones you can push, which ones you go and hug, which ones you leave alone. You have to know these things. It's part of your job, it's part of the description.
But it's almost impossible these days,
Yeah, I hear
because
you.
money has been great for the game in some sense, but money has made the skill of managing players almost impossible and void.
PSG are, as a club, are a little bit complicit in this, in how they allowed Neymar kind of freedom when he first joined as well.
Yes, but my point, I understand, but I still think the point is valid, that the desire of players to potentially cause a problem when it's not really one, it supersedes years ago when players didn't have the power and the money that they have now, clearly. And so therefore, you had to toe the line more with your man. Yeah, you could fall out, but he had the power, or he had enough power to be able to manage a group of players. Now it is so eggshell thin for these managers that it's almost impossible to manage these multi-millionaire egomaniacs, and that's where the management, and we, Shaq and I, it was a guy that we played under who passed away this week, was what we'd call Jim Smith, old school manager, was great with managing players. He would find it impossible, and he could do both. He could kick you up the backside, put your arm around you. But can you do that now with players on such big money with so much power?
Frank?
Yeah, it's. I want to just add something about what Craig said about the players and the money that they earn. They are a company. They earn so much money. I'm not talking about the salary. I'm talking about the endorsement. So Mbappe and Neymar have a company behind them that they created with people working for them, and they have to get the most money they can for the next 10 years to make sure that they have enough for the rest of their lives and for the people from their family and people they love. It's a big pressure. And so they live in their own lives and their own world where they only think about, I'm going to make money. So if I get out, what's going to happen to my image? Before, at the time that I was playing, only Beckham, Cantona, Ginola were having money from the endorsements. Now it's another world. And maybe we don't understand them. Maybe it's hard to cope with them. And I wouldn't be a manager because I think I will be one who would be ready to slap one of them. But Tuchel tried to have a little bit of psychology to make sure that the balance is correct and is able to even talk to them. That's the only thing that he can do.
Sorry, Jules, we're running out of time, but I want to get your thoughts as PSG's #1 fan quickly on this.
Look, I mean, I think for me, Mbappe coming off in the 90th minute was Tuchel trying to make his point, because the big thing was the game before, 3 days before against Nantes at the Parc des Princes, when he took off Mbappe after 78 minutes, and Mbappe was really unhappy at that point. And I don't think Mbappe saw it coming 4 days later again against Montpellier away in the 90th minute. And I think for me, it was Tuchel saying, if I want to take you off at any time, I can. And I'm going to do it again tonight in the 90th minute, which is completely pointless. Like Ali said, there's no sense to it. But I'm going to show you that I'm the one who makes the decision here. It's my authority. I'm not sure if it worked out the way Tuchel wanted to, because he's struggling with the dressing room this season far more than he did last season, for example. And my theory is that from himself, although he's got 18 months left on his contract at PSG, he will, at the end of the season, decide to go.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.